believe you, but I'm kind of immune to all this right now. I've been up here for one game with you. It's been like 3 years since
like
the
word xylophone, right? It's spelled wrong. English is incorrect. There's a Zach ban.
The Z.
All right.
That's kind of a mandatory ban, though.
That is a completely generic red side ban. But I'm going to hope the next ban out is Callista.
Nah.
What are you doing? That's a Galio. Now, to be fair, though.
Margz.
Marg Z. Depends on your accent, though. A G and a K can sound the same. Like, for example, in Korean, G and K are kind of the same sound. So I'm still going to hope that there's a possibility here.
All right, well, they banned an R champion. Maybe I buy into some of the stuff that's spitting out right now, but I don't think that's going to happen.
It's not Rakan. Yasuo still banned away. Voyboy not allowed to play that champion. No. One ban to come through for Big Gods Jackals, actually the Jace, which is interesting. I did like how they played against it before. I thought Chris did a good job, but the fact that DFX was still able to get first turret gold, was able to win the lane by so much, I still understand, like, hey, let's not give him that option again. I think that's reasonable.
If they don't want to give him something that could potentially just win lane, if they're going to be picking a tank in the top lane again, could potentially be the thought process behind that. And Dyrus, outside of that one kind of skirmish around the Dragon and maybe some of his positioning in team fights, was fairly solid throughout the entirety of the first 20 minutes on the Jace.
Yeah, he was generally pretty good. There's the Caitlyn ban away, so sorry, life is pain, and they didn't do what I wanted to do. It's okay, though. Jace ban also allows top Kennen to be a more viable pick right here. They're actually not going to go for it, though. Priority on the Elise jungle instead. Again, Lee Sin's still available, but if Scarra's not a big Lee Sin player, then you just kind of grab the cream of the crop, and there's not that big of a trade.
I mean, you said before that Scarra, one of the big things he likes doing is putting down vision control and putting more. I mean, he would make a great Lee Sin player.
Scarra is synonymous with great ward placement. It is synonymous, which is like one of the primary skills of playing Lee Sin. So I feel like this is just a match made in heaven. It does give away the Kennen, though, which I'm a little bit surprised at. Again, I don't know Scar's jungle pool that well, so I don't know what's takeaway and what's actually that important for him. But it does give away a highly prized champion in this Kennen, and as we saw, right, Dyrus was a pretty good split push top laner before they got first turret off of it, and so you ban a Jace, and he gets arguably the stronger split push top laner, unless we see Kennen flex, I guess, possibility.
We could.
And yeah, Scar's back on his comfort, I guess, anyway.
Yeah, so he's not going to be picking up the Lee Sin. But the Kennen for Dyrus is something we've seen him play in the Challenger split already. It's something that he's been fairly familiar with just previously in his LCS career as well. I mean, he's played plenty of Kennen in that matchup. Though now it's a little bit of a different style of Kennen. It's not the kind of AP style, but we could potentially see that being flexed into the bottom side. Big Gods Jackals played that kind of flex game themselves throughout the majority of the pick and ban phase. So we'll see if there's any sort of things going around, but looks like they're going to be comfortable picking up that Thresh once again for Bayano. You mentioned a very powerful support pickup.
It is, and Big Gods right now I feel like are just drafting according to the tier list. Aside from the fact that they did give away Kennen, which wouldn't speak to that so much, but they grabbed the highest priority jungle that's available, they grabbed the highest priority support in League of Legends, I would argue, unless you consider Zac to be that. And now actually, bit of a change up. I'm surprised here, but the Callista being grabbed is fun and exciting to me. It's a cool champion to see. Don't see here a ton, but I always love Callista Thresh as the combo. You can save each other back and forth. Toss the Thresh, gives you a lantern, out you go. It's kind of fun. And it means that you've got very good laning out of this Big Gods Jackals bot lane. I think it's one of the better 2-on-2s in general. And yeah, playmaking to be hatched. Should be fun.
Yeah, that's not a champion we see all that frequently, so maybe not going down the exact tier list from Big Gods Jackals.
Right. I mean, they had to blind pick something, right? And what's actually amazing is they preemptively counterpick Ashe. Kallista's one of the best champions against Ashe because you say, hey, Thresh, face, tank, and arrow. I'll just trade ults with the other bot laner, no big deal. It is actually one of the best possible scenarios to be in. The actual scrapping of the laning phase is going to be a bit hard. Callista a bit short range. Thresh can be hard to get in the fights as well. Ashe can poke you, and we expect to see like a Zyra or a Talia or something magey out of Shiphtur. So more so than the last game, I really expect DFX to have a strong 2-on-2 here. But as far as just on a more macro scale outside of laning phase, I really like what Callista does against Ashe.
As I said, that's one of the things too, is when you force QTP onto something like the Ashe pickup, DFX already kind of struggle in kind of the rotations around the map and their late game shot calling. Now you give him something whose primary job in the late game is vision control with a hawk shot, being able to make sure that you're in the right position at the right time, and utilizing that Ashe arrow for engages or disengages, whichever situation you're in. Now you're kind of putting like the onus on them to be like, all right, you're split pushing with the Kennen, we're going to give you this Ashe away in this matchup, and you kind of have to make the moves happen, which is where DFX has struggled so far.
And it almost doesn't fit the comp as well. When I talked about Kennen top a little while ago, it's like you need the 4-on-4 to stay kind of safe. You want a wave clear like a Lucian or a Caitlyn. Again, Caitlyn consistently being banned, that's not happening here. But that's usually what you kind of want, is a safe 4 to let your 1 do all the hard work. And that's what the Jace kind of wanted to do and was doing, right? DFX got first turret off the Jace. They just needed to have wave clear anywhere else in the team, which they didn't really have that well. And, you know, this spells a bit of difficulty for me, but if they can get the Kennen to TP in, and they can get the flanks, I mean, we've seen some good Kennen ultis, right? We've seen some good Kennen flanks. It is possible to get good team fights out, and if Delta Fox say, you know what, we just want to win good 5-on-5s and give Dyrus a good landing phase, then it works on that line. I just don't think it's the best possible comp.
Yeah, well, we'll see what they want to pick in the second pick phase here. As Delta Fox abandoned away some of the protection from the Kalista, the Shen and the Orianna taken away. So no Shen here for the side of Big Gods Jackals Chris. They abandoned away 2 of the mage supports, the Zyra and the Karma. Although this is a Shiphtur special, he picks up the Taliyah for the second.
Yep, still plays what he wants in that one. The Taliyah Ashe is, I think it's going to be a fairly strong bot lane right here. We'll see how well the Kalista can dodge away from the knockup. Certainly, just by the fact that Kalista exists, she dashes between auto attacks, which means that she'll trigger all the minefield damage from Taliyah. Like, there's a soft counter there. The Taliyah into Kalista counter pick, ladies and gentlemen. It is massive. It's crazy. I'm pretty sure that Kalista also can't clear the wall, even if she does have some dashes. I think it's too short of a dash to get over. So there are some subtle gains for the Taliyah here in this case. It can even still be flexed to mid for Voy if they really, really want to do it. Honestly, just waiting to see what the rest of the comp is. It feels like they're going for some pretty heavy team fight focus. And I think they're going to be trying to bring the Kennen into the fold by doing that. And so, you know, another Cassiopeia, things like that are very likely. There's the R that we saw before. They played Cassio into it last time, maybe again.
And we'll see what the last pickup is going to be for Voyboy in the mid lane here. So if they pick the Cassiopeia, then it could just be a rehash what we saw last time. And Voyboy, for the majority of the lane phase,
he was fine.
Doing fine. He was very aggressive early on. He did fall behind in CS a little bit later after they lost the bottom lane tower, actually. So when the rotations across the map actually wound up coming in and more focused on the mid to top side of the map. This time around, it's going to be the Vladimir pickup. So something also scales later on, a little bit safer.
And I do have to correct myself. I'm pretty sure it was Delta Fox who blinded the Cassiopeia and Ari was the counter pick, because... No, because Shen was the last pick. So they did pick Cassio and Ari because Shen was the very last pick and it swapped with the Kennen. So they did choose to play Cassio into Ari. Cassio is available in the draft, so they said, let's play something else instead. Instead of the Cassio, we'll play with this Vladimir. And to be fair, the comp has more CC in it. You've added an Ashe instead of Evolution. You've added a Kennen instead of a Jace. And so if you're maximizing damage output, Vlad can sometimes be that to just amp everything instead of Cassio, who's there partially for the crowd control as well. So it might just be a team comp thing. Either way, he's deciding now to play Vladimir into Ari. We'll see how well it could go.
Well, this time around, Delta Fox has a bit of a different look to their roster with Big Gods Jackals. Not necessarily the same power across the map with the Shen Stan United, but there's an Elise to provide a lot of CC from the jungle. And there's a big bad Renekton in the top lane that's going to be looking to get some bully advantages over the split push Kennen extremely early on.
It's always fun watching a dynamic matchup like this. Renekton into ranged is something that I am deathly afraid of on both sides because I'm a very bad top laner. I do expect that both Chris and Dyrus will have a very fun time with this one. It's just such a nice, like, knife edge dynamic lane because, of course, Kennen's going to poke you out. He's got 500 range on you. No surprises there. But because of the double dash from Renekton, because he can stun, because Elise can stun, at any given time, you can turn that fight around immediately, and you've got to have this, like, really tempered expectations as Dyrus, like, wait, when am I allowed to poke, or when am I dead to an Elise and Tri-Brush with a Renekton flash stun? And it's just, I literally can't play the game until I'm dead because of the chain stuns. And it's a very difficult thing to do. I certainly can't. I trust Dyrus can, but it makes it a very interesting matchup because it should be volatile and there should be a lot of kill pressure on both sides.
Well, we see both of them starting with the Dorian Shield, whereas Delta Fox changing up the game one, level 1 invade plan here, getting a little bit of deep vision, trying to spot out where Sir T on this Elise is going to be starting off as they get a ward over by the Raptor cam. Big Gods Jackals on the opposite side, though, still lining up pretty much the line of scrimmage, so early game warding advantage to Delta Fox, so we'll see if they're actually able to identify where Sir T starts and if they're able to do anything in the early stages of the game. Because Scarra's Gragas last game, although he had some questionable later game ultimates, his early game presence wasn't necessarily the biggest. It was really about him kind of being on the opposite side of the map of Sir T rather than trying to halt what he was doing early game.
Absolutely. We'll see if Chris can steal away. He's going to get jumped on, though. Yeah, there's too much damage and CC availability. If they somehow didn't protect him, if Dyrus weren't camping down here, I think he could have gone for like a Q steal on some of these Raptors, but this is actually going to hurt Chris a lot. Dyrus gets about 600 damage off onto him. Okay, 600 is an overstatement. He got 300 damage off onto him, but he makes him use his first potion already, and he's still going to be at full HP afterwards. So the lane was going to be kind of exciting. Now I think it's going to be very likely to be Dyrus favored, and I think he can zone Chris off a lot.
No, we'll see if Sir T, who did start down up his Raptor camp, is going to be prioritizing that top side of the map, or if he may be looping around and trying to get something down on the bottom side. I'm actually going to be interested in this bottom lane matchup. We already saw in game number 1, Elution Taliyah almost picked up a kill that just barely got turned around by the stun coming out from Kennen, as well as a very nicely timed heal from Fabi. This time around, it's a little bit more of an aggressive lane matchup.
The flash play!
Ooh, early level 2 engagement there from the side of Big Gods Jackals. Actually turned some decent damage down onto Fabi as well, so Summoner spells burned, flash for flash.
Yeah, they're just going to recall really early. Fabi actually is going to clear 2 waves and back. And this is nice because they have the wave control. They're against no attack damage items at all. And next wave is a cannon wave. There's basically no way Dodovox can actually deny significant farm here. So Fabi gets to back for free, grab early boots to get away from like Ash chase down, things like that, be full HP and full mana, and he won't miss more than, I mean, maybe you lose up to 3 CS if it goes really badly for you, but he's going to have a potion lead as a result, and it should be pretty good. And there's the flash stun they're going for.
Yeah, and there's the chain CC coming out from Surti. Dyrus able to flash away,
And
but
what are you
Chris
allowed to
gonna
do?
take it up.
You are not allowed to play League of Legends if you have range of a flash stun, and he dies from full HP to dead. The earlier the better, not as much HP leveling up right there. Very nice pathing Surti to get level 3, rush right to the top side.
You know, also Dyrus, we saw him letting the lane kind of push back on him there, so he may not be ganked if he was pushed under tower. Because of that, he was also at a level disadvantage, 2 compared to 3, and Chris able to capitalize on that nicely, and they get his teleport back to lane immediately.
Sure, he gets only a longsword for his first recall. Top laners usually get to spend 1 TP back to lane and then have to save it the rest of the time. And now, Chris will still have to match TP the rest himself as well, so watch that fight again. And again, it's just the stun was timed properly, that they had enough time. Really smart by Chris to tank aggro until the cannon was dead. No longer is Elise dealing damage, so no longer will the turret swap aggro to that. Now Voyboy forced to kite away. That was a bit of an aggressive cocoon off to the wrong side, but
A little
out he
early.
goes.
Yeah, so Surti got a good gank on the top side. Not so much on the middle lane here, as he did want to burn the Ghost away from Voyboy, so he did burn a Summoner spell for his troubles, although could have potentially gotten more. But Voyboy able to cheat death on that one.
Interesting mechanic right there by Thresh, by the way. If you wait too long to auto-attack, you charge up more damage via your passive, the way that the Flay passive works. So Biono wants to attack as soon as possible to make sure he doesn't like steal a last hit away from his teammate. And you don't want a last hit a caster if you can help it because it's less gold to you. So there's even mechanics of setting up CS properly as Thresh in bot lane. That said, Kalista can just like auto and then rend and get it anyway. It's not like he really has to help, but good guy Biono chose to.
I mean, you also get the kind of synergy between the fact that whoever Kalista binds to is going to be getting extra damage if you hit the same exact target. Maybe
Right.
not necessarily for CS, but it comes into later effect later on when you want to maximize damage and trade.
Sure. Yeah, and it can't help for CS when you're not hitting casters under a turret, but absolutely I agree. Like sometimes that can really come into effect here, and mostly it's been Fabi using the instant cast rend to make sure things happen. And you can see, yeah, that's the kind of trade that Chris can do. And then if Dyrus gets a stun, he does 300 damage back.
Yeah, so like you said, a bit of a nice edge fight up here. And even though Dyrus did get ganked for first blood, he's still going to have that range advantage over the Renekton in this matchup, and he did wind up getting his first teleport off, whereas Chris was able to just walk back to lane. So he's going to be naturally pushing back against Chris, which will, of course, leave Dyrus a little exposed if he doesn't ward up properly.
Right, and so now you have an interesting choice if you're Chris right here. Do you like wait to finish your next major, like you just, do you recall in like a minute's time and like match TPs back and, you know, accept the fact you have a slight TP disparity for 2 minutes in there, but it gives you an item lead in your laning phase, which maybe he really wants to not lose his turret? Or do you say, well, I'm just going to sit here in laning phase, not run my TP for anything, and just kind of suffer through a deficit? And I think there's actually a choice to be made. You still have, I think, a window to bring your teleport for a recall. Ooh, look at
You see the Spirit Rush directly into the Scarra body slam. That's because Pika wants to turn this one around. The Hemo
could die
plays
to
out
flash
from
Q.
Voyboy, though. Voyboy
it's
doesn't
kinda
go
cool.
for the flash.
It's not up, actually. Of course, the Fury bar is going to match exactly with your Q cooldown. It's always going to fill exactly the next one that comes up.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Has
Pika
flash.
wants to try to wrap around on this one. The charm's going to be available. He's not enough mana, though. Voyboy going to pool after. Tides of Blood. A flash after the transfusion will not pick up the kill.
And I'm not sure if Pico actually had to flash to stay alive. It was close, though. I don't blame him for trying to do that one. But yeah, Voyboy, the Q passive timed out essentially, right? He no longer had the ability to do the bonus damage. And here comes the next gank attempt. Surti, not going to predict properly.
No,
Good juke by Dyrus.
A little bit wide there. Dyrus keeps himself safe. And so now, more advantages in this early game given over to the sides of Big Gods Jackals. Surti, first blood on the top side, moves down the bottom lane, not able to get something there, immediately passed back to mid lane because he's able to get those mobility boots off the first blood and matches the gank coming out from Scarra in the mid lane.
Yeah, honestly, the fact that, so the match gank was obviously very good, and props to him for kind of sticking around and everything else as the Gragas came back, but the fact that Voyboy even died was him being too greedy and going back in for a fight that he's like, okay, my Q's got 4 seconds left on the cooldown. I'm going to walk under a turret. Oh, I didn't kill him, weird. And, you know, that is a mistake to be had for sure, and that's kind of unfortunate. As we saw from the previous game, of course, the comeback can still happen. They've usually been good for the first 20 minutes, and they'll find another play to be made, especially with the fact that Dyrus is certainly winning his lane. And yeah, so there we go. Chris chose to wait until he could get Imqatpie and a longsword before he TP'd back to lane. But now there will be, in about a minute's time, this 3.5 minute, 4 minute long TP desync. But Chris decided, yes, I'm going to use my one allowed TP to lane to do this here, get my Imqatpie, survive Dyrus a bit more. And I think that is a defensible choice. there's a chance he could be punished, and we'll see if Dyrus can, again, in a minute's time, find a TP play bot lane.
Yeah, and a lot of this is going to be the fact that Surtees made some things happen in the early game, and that puts the onus on Delta Fox to kind of make that TP play happen first. So if you, for 2.5 to 3 minutes, have a TP disadvantage, but you're against a team who's not able to utilize that and capitalize on it efficiently, it could work out for you. As now Big Gods Jackals, or not, are going to be on a 3-man roam squad going after Voyboy. Saw the flash in from Bayano. Voyboy actually, he's barely going to stay alive, but Peekaboo has to Spirit Rush under the tower in order to pick up the kill, and Scarra a little bit too late there. 5 seconds too late. I will save Voyboy.
That was unbelievably sexy. The Flash Flame pulls him into Cocoon. That was awesome. That was so good out of Bayano and Surtees. I don't think Cocoon would have landed if not for Flay. I'm pretty sure. When the replay comes up, I'll be able to point it out for sure. But that was unbelievably sick. And there's basically no way as Voyboy you really get to outplay that. You've got to just guess exactly when Flash Flay comes out and pool the hope that he Flash Flays within that window. And that's really, really hard to predict. And I can't blame Voy for dying there. But I got to give all the props to the Brazilian duo there on Big Gods Jackals for making that happen.
We can take a quick replay of this one to see. They roamed up from the bottom lane here, and we'll see if Bayano's Flash Flay knocks him into the Cocoon.
Yeah, he might have hit it, but the thing is, the Cocoon also was 100% going to be Sanguine poolable. So that does not land unless you go for a Flash Flay. Range or not, it's not going to land. The fact that also right there, Peekaboo lands a single auto attack, also a huge deal. He wouldn't have done enough damage. And just as a mid laner, it is so important that you remember to put auto attacks down. There are so many players who just forget the value of that 70 attack damage. Would not have gotten the kill. The sick play would have gone to waste if he hadn't remembered to right-click afterwards. And look at all the pressure Chris has gotten. He's supposed to lose his matchup. The farm actually tells that story that he's only just now up 1. But he got this turret because of sick ganks out of Surtees, turning the matchup around. We know Renekton can make it happen, but it's hard, as we saw before, but nicely done there to make it happen.
Yeah, so already big movements on the map from Big Gods Jackals. I guess it's in their name. So they're the ones that are making the big plays early on in this game. We heard from Bayano at the beginning of this, beginning of the broadcast, saying that being able to communicate in Portuguese with Surtees is going to do wonders for their shot calling. And Bayano himself, when he was in Brazil, he played on challenger teams for some of the big names. He was basically a sub or a challenger player for the Red Candid challenger team. I think he did the same thing for Pain Gaming or one of the other big names in the Brazilian scene. He was known for his shot calling prowess, and now that he has somebody he can help communicate those plays with, seems to be working out for Big Gods Jackals specifically in these early game plays.
Look at the player here. They're on wards, though, so it's going to land hook too.
Oh, well, they're hooking Shiphtur, so Delta Fox trying to respond with a play of their own. The Hemo Plague and the Explosive Cast go up, but Bayano's already picked up a kill on Shiphtur. Voyboy tanging through the tower. He has to use the Sanguine Pool. Scarra's going to flash into the wall, not be able to get away from that one. Now here comes Peek and Woof. Dyrus has used that teleport. Is he able to pick up any more than just a kill onto Surtees? It looks like no. He gets played. He gets taken down. Bayano, 2-0-2 on Thresh.
Oof, TP ult for a 1-for-1. Nicely turned around there by Big Gods Jackals. The idea was sound. I think it could have worked absolutely, but just not enough damage dealt. Props to Fabi for a really sweet flash. Gets away from one of the barreled hits of damage. And they just honestly cut it around the CC so well. And to break it down further, we'll need the replay, but it's just, this game is completely snowballing out of control. It's been good play after good play from Big Gods Jackals. The only reason it's not a perfect game right now for Delta Fox is that Dyrus traded 1-for-1 to teleport in.
And that play looked a little bit desperate for Delta Fox. Like, we need to get something going on some side of the map. We have a push going on the bottom side. Let's try to dive this tower. But Big Gods Jackals just right place, right time, able to kind of transfer that play around. And now we see Chris being able to just take down that tier 2 top tower because of all the time spent away from top lane.
He made the call to stay in top, and this whole time Chris getting a push lead on this. So we look to fight, but the problem is that Surtees is already there, so props to him to know it's coming in for this one. But it's supposed to be a bit of a 5v4. Immediately the first kill on Shiphtur, though, was a huge deal on that one. And there's under turret, there's just no damage left because Shiphtur's not there to land any spells. He maybe got the Ignite down, but it doesn't matter, right? And they're just disjointed. The minion was mostly gone already, so if you're doing anything at all, you're taking turret aggro. Voy got his ult off, but there's no one hitting them while it's happening, so just it was completely disjointed, as you mentioned. Yeah, they're trying to force something because they are losing the map, and I respect the idea of trying to make something go down, but, Mark V did not coach them how to properly tower dive, so... player of the game, first game.
Ooh, Peekaboo has to flash away from that one. That was a Mark Z guided arrow.
Yeah. I mean, that was a good shot, though. So good job, Mark. Teaching Imqatpie how to play Ashe. That's good for you. Proper coaching, proper analyzing. But yeah, brother Mark right now certainly helped Big Gods win game 1. He's helping him win game 2 as well.
I thought he was head analyst at Delta Fox, but I could be a little bit confused with that one. The Big Gods Jackals, very, very strong early game pressure coming out this time around. Delta Fox, we mentioned, usually the ones that were winning the early stages of this game, but Big Gods Jackals able to turn it around basically because of that Thresh man there and the Elise coming out from Biano and Surti. It's already a play, a flash hook connects, the teleports in there from Chris, and Imqatpie is taken down.
He gets obliterated there. More great plays out of support. Biano making some highlight reels right there. Of course, it's easy. Ashe doesn't have a lot of items and no summoners up as well, but still a nice play right there. Now bot lane turret falls, and again, outside of a single kill, Big Gods Jackals on the way to a perfect game. Scarra is not long for the world either, stunned with some teammates around, and Chris is like, yeah, I'll 1v3, you don't have mana, it's fine.
Yeah, they're being kind of corralled by Chris and Peekin. Peekin was a little bit on the backside here, but Chris continuing to chase down, pops the Dominus, still had that available. The Tiamat's going to be there, able to pick up a kill, double kill, now picks up this 1v3, turns into a 2v4 as now Dyrus comes in. Finally, because he gets CC'd, he goes down. The Challenger Gatekeeper. Flashing his skills here. 1 versus 3, and here comes more. Don't need to flash this time. Play into hook, into Imqatpie. Can't do anything. 1v3. Where's the team? Imqatpie calls in his chat, and Fear the Goddess might be coming soon into his inventory. This one 10-2 and kills. Big Gods Jackals smashing. And I don't really know what else to say between Big Gods Jackals is playing this early game extremely well. A lot of it's going to be off the back of this Elise play, but also the teleport advantage. Look at the ward just over the wall immediately. That's very smart. Alpha crack channel. And he tried to heal to juke. That's actually pretty smart by Imqatpie, but really well aimed, aiming it forward and left. Imqatpie has to juke back towards Thresh to have any way of juking. And honestly, that's like, to talk about like advanced skill shot usage, you actually want to, if they juke, they die is the best way to aim a skill shot. If they don't juke, they die to hook. If they do juke, they're just in range of flay. Best possible he could have gone for, lands the kill even despite the heal coming through. And then Chris actually just 1v2s and does 1 million damage. It's pretty sick. And this is just very strong Renekton at this point in the game. Dyrus is finally able to kind of rotate down for this one, but also that play, the desynced teleport timers coming into a factor once again is now Weaver's Wall going to be cutting off. He can really explosive cast into the body slam. Good display of mechanics right there as much needed kills picked up for Delta Fox. That was definitely nice. Peek and Wolf's ult was just barely still on cooldown. It seemed there was a couple second window, and Shiphtur with a really nice Weaver's Wall. She's setting it up is good. So signs of life. Delta Fox finally claw in their 3rd kill, but it's a 7,000 gold deficit in 15 minutes. This is brutal. Yeah, I mean, I'm a stats guy by trade, and I know that's a huge lead for the side of Big Gods Jackals. Now Chris continuing to just flex his muscles all across the rift on the bottom side. Yeah, a lot of the way I look at gold leads is I'm like, okay, so for a general player League of Legends, you're getting like 400 to 500 gold per minute. That's like about right. I'm sure you actually know the real numbers better than I do, but that feels about appropriate. But yeah. Okay, 300 to 400 gold per minute. Yeah. Right. If you're doing really well, it's 500. If you're literally frogging, it's 500. Okay. And so, and I look at the gold lead, it's like, wow, they're up by 500 gold per minute. So they have a 6th player worth of gold. Yeah, pretty much. They have a 4th lane of farm. Right. They have a Froggen worth of gold on their team. They just got a Froggen. Awkward when you're against Delta Fox in the first place. We saw how the scrim went. So yeah, it's the way it went, and now they're going for a player on the Rift Herald. Scarra, look at this might fight. Yeah, this could actually be a fight that Delta Fox wants, even though the Rift Herald's able to go over to the side of Big Gods. Looks like the collapse coming in from Delta Fox. A good arrow on the backside, picks up a stun on the Fabi as they get another kill here for Delta Fox. And Big Gods Jackals, they have a big lead, but they still got to be a little bit careful about it. Looks like Blade of the Rune King is activated on the Surti, but Shiphtur has to flash away from the double CC skill shots coming out. Delta Fox find a decent fight for themselves. Yeah, all right, so that was interesting. That was very good by them to capitalize back on. Of course, I lost track of what the setup was because I was talking about gold leads and Froggen and things like that. It's been on my mind, I guess, recently or something. I don't know. But hey, Delta Fox, I mean, very good by them to get into the fight, to show up in time, land all the CC, land all the ultimates, and then even a turret off of it as well. At some point, I assume the Rift Herald buff will... Oh, no, it was picked up by Surti. I missed that, actually. I thought he had actually left it on the ground. Right, we got a replay for you to figure out what happened. Yeah, so it's walking in, and the team is still focused on taking down Rift Herald, so the entire time you just got him sitting there, Biano, like front-lining, taking damage from Rift Herald, taking damage from Gragas. That stun is amazing as well. I mean, that's just a really nice shot. Fabi, I think, actually might have had flash up at the time. He has it now at the very least, so either it was on a small cooldown or he just didn't see it coming, or he thought it was going to hit Ari, who, Peek and Wolf as he spirit rushes out of the way. But either way, nice shot by Imqatpie, right? Proper coaching from Mark Zimmerman, and they got a good fight out of it. One of the things, too, is Chris was nowhere near that fight, and his teleport was desynced from that of Dyrus, so he wasn't able to join up. He was kind of trailing on the backside of that fight. So while he was split pushing down that bottom side of the map, and even though Big Gods Jackals have 5 towers, he was not there to really help out his team. And he's one of the big factors of this game, is the fact that he is so much farther ahead of his counterpart in Kennen. You mentioned the desync teleports. It's actually a really good point. I actually missed that, so thank you for bringing that one out. It's
League of Legends is really fun to watch when top enders have desync teleports, because you have constant 5v4s on all sides of the map, or 1v1s where Cutie Pie dies to an Elise.
Oh, potentially 1v1s. It's not fair, though. He's got an rest of his fan club coming in.
All right, well, the rest
Army
of the fan comes in. They've got like 10 tails and 13 legs across all of them, and either way, it's a pretty easy win against Ash, who's only human. So good pick up there. And yeah, this is what happens when you don't have the ward control anymore. When the map starts collapsing, it's so hard to keep wards available. And even though they had some wards in jungle, it just didn't matter. He wasn't able to get away in time.
Yeah, so now Big Gods Jackals able to answer the kill on the Cutie Pie. We'll see if they wind up utilizing that Rift Herald topside, and they will. So this is actually going to be very scary Rift Herald, because it will open up an inhibitor at this point in the game. We're pre-20 minutes. An inhibitor being exposed is very dangerous. No one from Delta Fox is here to respond, so Weaver's Wall will cut off Peek and Wolf and Fabby. He's got the Lantern to go over, though. They're going to try to lock onto Peek and Wolf, the explosive cast. He flashes over the wall. They find Voyboy trying to flank around the backside. He gets knocked up. He gets splayed back, and Fabby's able to pick up a kill. Good charm lands down onto Scarra. Follow-up with a hook. This chain CC is devastating from Big God.
Chain CC is exactly what Thresh is about. The Chain Warden himself making it. Yeah, and there's the 360 as Tom throws up his hands. I'm done with this one. I can't handle this guy. It's too annoying. There's the charm. Much like me, a charming kill comes through for Beacon Wolf.
You definitely have a way with words, Phreak, so I'll give you that one. But Big Gods Jackals has a way with this game right now.
Oh,
taking down an inhibitor in the top lanes. Chris, meanwhile, is split pushing on the bottom side.
What's better, my puns or Big Gods Jackals in this game?
I think, I don't know.
There's an easy answer here. Big Gods Jackals.
Oh, Big Gods Jackals is definitely super far ahead, but I was complimenting you at the beginning of the broadcast. I'll have to double, kind of
I feel like I only deserve like one per day. Like it's on cooldown for a while.
It just goes straight to your head. You get a big head. Big Gods Jackals gets a big lead in this game.
Every compliment I get puts one hair back in my scalp. You can tell I don't get a lot of them. That's how it works.
This is a fight that looked like it was going to be set up by Delta Fox, even though they lost the inhibitor tower pretty much for free. They're trying to get the collapse from Voyboy on the backside, but just Big Gods Jackals, too much CC, too much gold, too much damage.
And I mean, okay, the Kingdom Renekton are dealing with the bot lane right now, and sure, Chris has a gold lead, but at the same time, 60% of the kills were on the Kennen. I think you need him in the battle. They would rather have the Renekton be split pushing.
I like the slowdown on the miss of the Thresh hook coming out.
That's okay. He got the rest from landing. It's like an 80% skill shot accuracy. It's good enough for me.
Yeah, well, he's hit pretty much a decent amount of hooks. I think he's hit a couple more hooks and arrows than Cutie Pie's fired out this game. Although Cutie Pie on Ash has not really been in a position to make those things happen. That's what we talked about in Champion Select. If you are a team like Delta Fox and you're put onto that AD carry Ash, somebody who needs to kind of make these initiations and these fights kind of happen for your team, and that's been your weak point, Big Gods Jackals coming out ahead in the pick and ban phase of that one. Not only that, but Fabio was able to get advantages in that lane phase extremely early on.
Yeah, I mean, really good stuff out of him. Again, the level 2 recall was interesting. It's very rare you see that. Again, I don't think it was punished very heavily, but really the game snowballed completely elsewhere. It was Chris at the very beginning, a failed tower dive for them as well, and then here comes the inherent CC. They caught him in.
They got Peek and Whoop, but he just dashes out, and even though Dyrus is able to pick up a kill on Fabby, Big Gods Jackals still looking for this fight. Chris is going to slice and dice his way out of there. Peek and Whoop tagged up by that Hemo play, going to be taken down kind of low, so Delta Fox able to defend a mid-tier 2 tower, but they still got super minions wailing away on a top Nexus tower.
It's done!
Fall.
And it's back to a 500 gold per minute lead right now for Big Gods Jackals. Froggen has rejoined the lineup for his farming prowess right here. Oh, it's a difficult game to be in right now. And this is honestly practically out of reach. They're down a Nexus turret. It's 21 minutes into the game. Big Gods Jackals have a Cloud Drake. You can't lose when that happens.
And a Mountain Drake.
All right, Cat Planet getting summoned soon for this one. They've even got Heart. They've got Ahri. I mean, what more do you need?
Well, you need water. You need fire.
Yeah.
You need wind. They have wind.
They have. All right.
Then you get Captain Planet.
All right. Well, they've got
I mean, you asked, and I gave a literal answer.
On Ahri, and they just need the other one that I forgot the name of.
Well, they have Earth, they have Cloud, they have Heart.
Yeah. So
water.
That's great. They don't have water anywhere. Unlucky. Captain Planet not going to be seen unless they hang out in the river for a long time.
They need a pool party Renekton.
If only he had done it.
Only they knew the dragons ahead of time.
Yeah, there he is. It's SKT Renekton instead. Yeah, sorry, not the power of water. Chris, roaring. You hear the crowd behind them. That's the dream. Goes for the stun. See, and Shiphtur flash.
This is why I compliment you on the desk, because Mark Z doesn't even know what skins are in our game. You are just all on top of this.
Yeah, I've actually already played a bunch of games with like the Duskbringer or Nightbringer Yasuo. Looks cool, man.
Yeah?
Yeah. I haven't played it myself, but they've been in the game.
Oh, okay. You haven't actually played it. All right.
No, I played my first Riven game of like the last 2 years, and it was terrible. I started 1-9, but then I finished a Death Dance and went 10-9.
Nice.
So, well, okay, I went 5 and 9, but still, it was. I went from 1-9 to 5, 9, and 10. It was an upgrade from there. I had a killing spree at the end of it all. Oh gosh.
Shiphtur, you're gonna get annihilated by Peek and Weave.
So Shiphtur right there is what I look like playing Riven.
Oh, okay.
That was about as close to the games were. By the way, Baron's being killed after Big Gods Jackals.
Yeah, Big Gods just pretty much have priority all across the map here. The vision control on the bottom side is able to spot anybody trying to be a little bit too far away. Picking up a kill on Shiphtur, just secures himself at Baron. Not because it's priority.
Peeking up a kill on Shiphtur.
Yes, peeking up a kill. I missed the pun.
This.
I'm barking up the wrong tree.
I mean, she's more of a fox, but are foxes in the dog family?
I don't think so. I think they're in the fox family.
Are foxes like their own? Okay, you know what? We're not going to go for this one.
It's kind of like bears. What kind of animal's a bear?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're right. I feel you. My bad. My bad. I'm the worst kind of person out here. 10,000 gold lead. Big Gods Jackals. All that's left is to close the game out at this point. Double inhibitor down. One turret remains in front of the Nexus. And with Baron buff, it should be the closeout. Almost guaranteed.
Double inhibitors down. One of them will be respawning soon on the top side of the map for Delta Fox, but as you mentioned, all the map pressure that Big Gods Jackals has, it's going to be A-okay for them to just rotate up there. And Sir T already getting the minion wave pushing up there as well. That means the Elise can potentially flank around and kind of land that chain CC. Really start the chain CC off. The inhibitor has respawned. There's a ton of minions up on that top side of the map. Dyrus has to deal with the super minions on the bottom side as Chris is just going to bring himself over there. A flash, a stun. The Biano being thrown is not going to land. And actually an arrow lands there from Imqatpie. They're going to maybe chase on the Peek and Wolf here. Voyboy's in the front line. Can't grab the lantern from the enemy team, though. Delta Fox unable to capitalize there.
Voyboy tried really hard. He proto-busted to get into range for the ulti, but no one else could even auto-attack the Ahri, so I know they really wanted it. They were hoping it was an opportunity, but just the range was just simply too far away. Not a lot left could be done. So now it's time for the repeat push. Bot lane inhibitor. Going to be taken down a second time.
Yeah, so Big Gods Jackals kind of just a textbook way to end this game. It's a lot faster than last game here, 24 minutes in. Delta Fox hard pressed up against their base at 10,000 gold disadvantage, and another inhibitor falling. Dyrus trying to clear away on the top side of the map so that one doesn't fall. Well, there's still about a minute and a half left on this Baron buff they have to endure, so Big Gods Jackals can play this one as slow as they want.
Yeah, well, up until Baron buff ends, because you're supposed to close the game before that would happen, but it's very likely they do win the game in the next minute and a half right here. Mid inhibitor cracked for the first time all game, and they're going to still wait to grab this inhibitor. They're playing with a lot of respect, and it's almost more than they need. It shouldn't be too hard to siege when they've got the Baron buff in. I guess they're waiting for the bot lane maybe to push in a little bit first.
And there's no big ultimates available for Delta Fox. They have the Slicing Maelstrom and the Explosive Cast, but there's no Hemoplague available. There's no Ash Arrow. That actually just came back up, as we're going to see it fired out here onto Biano. A good belly slam in from Scarra. He knocks Chris into the back line, though. The Slicing Maelstrom comes out from Kennen. Delta Fox has the damage, but can they finish off their targets? It looks like the answer is going to be no. Dyrus goes down. Voyboy follows after him. The inhibitor's going to fall, and that's going to be Big Gods Jackals, 3 inhibitors strong, pushing down into the base.
Yeah, 2 for 1 in solo laners. There was a nice ult out of Dyrus and a nice cask out of Scarra as well, but the stats are simply too much. There's really no way you can just continually survive all of the damage. They knocked down 3 inhibs, and they're actually going to wait to reset one more time. It's 4v3 with minions inside the base and a Baron buff still on. I feel like you probably try to close it out, but instead they're going for the slightly slower play here. Watch that fight again. It's a big stun out of Chris. That's a lot of damage there on a Scar. The arrow lands onto one of the tanks, throws the Thresh, and that cask is good, but delivering the Renekton, not exactly ideal. It's not what you really want, and honestly, Void doesn't have the damage to kill off the Ahri there. Even though he got in the full Singlet pool, he had the ulti on, did everything he could. There's just not enough damage to be had there, even though Ahri didn't build any MR in the slightest. He's just under-leveled and under-farmed.
Now Delta Fox, their hardest opponent in this game may not be Big Gods Jackals, but the fact that there are 3 waves of super minions coming down, so 6 super minions per wave, and as you mentioned, significantly under-farmed. Imqatpie gonna
hope for a blue steal, I think.
Fire out an arrow as we see Big Gods Jackals even respond to some question mark pings of their own as to where that one was going. But now without a hard engage utility coming out from Delta Fox, it was not helping him in the last fight. It's going to be even more detrimental in this following one. Already Voyboy in the front line getting stunned up, getting taken down. Scar goes in with a desperation play, able to pick up a kill on the Sir T, but Chris is ripping through their back line already. Big Bad Renekton is going to combine with the Ahri to pick up a couple of kills. Fabi gets one on the front lines, and Scar is the last man standing. Looks like the Delta Fox are going to be forced out of their own base, taken down by Big Gods Jackals. They're going to take a 2-0 here over their opponents.
27-minute game 2. Well played to Big Gods Jackals. The game 2 absolutely convincing. Smashed from start to finish. Some good team fights to boot as well. GG 2-0 still. Sadly for Delta Fox, no game wins at all. And this is one of their easier opponents, the 4th place team. not going to happen. Maybe it gets better in the second round robin, but you know, it's a lot of work to do here as well. They, you know, bad in the laning phase in some of these cases, and certainly getting outplayed here by Big Gods Jackals. Again, a strong team doing well. I liked a lot of the plays out of these guys. I thought Biano and Surtees certainly combined really, really, really well. The top lane gank was amazing. Also, the setup was so good, too, because that felt like a sort of a planned play. Raptors to red to blue, come top lane. Chris says, okay, I'll shove the wave. We'll kill him before he's level 3, kill him under turret, make him lose part of the wave. Like, that was a good setup by them. Certainly some really good plays coming out of Big Gods Jackals.
Yeah, we mentioned in the pregame that Delta Fox, their strength was going to be like their mechanical prowess in lane. And even though game number 1 was fairly close, game number 2 was pretty much just the Brazilian duo of Surtees and Biano kind of flexing their own mechanical muscles. Pretty much every chance you got. You saw Biano weaving in hooks in places that you wouldn't think would be able to hit. You saw the chain CC follow up. Even Peekaboo getting into the fray with some very clutch Ari charms.
Yeah.
Just very highly mechanically executed pick composition coming out from them, being able to just piece and pick apart the pieces of Delta Fox they needed to.
Absolutely agree that they played it very well. And even though we did have some elements of desync teleports, Delta Fox were unable to capitalize. We talked about it. Was Chris going to use his TP to get back to lane to buy Ninja Tabi and a longsword? And he did. Is it okay? We've got this 4-minute window where Dyrus can go for the play himself, and he can go for the desync TP, go for the 5v4 bot lane. They tried. They lost the turret top lane as a result. They lost out on kills by 1 or 2 in the bot lane as a result, despite being the higher number team. And it was the right call to try, but Delta Fox were not able to make the play actually happen. And that, I thought, even outside of Dyrus losing lane, which like you can recover from that, but when the bot lane tower dive, when you use your 1 advantage in the game and it turns into nothing, it's almost impossible to come back from there, and that's what happened.
Yeah, and that was Big God Jackals putting the onus on Delta Fox to kind of make those plays happen.
And they defended well. Surtees camped down in the lane. Like he was, like the Elise was already there waiting for the play to happen. You saw Peek and Wolf roam down in time, cut people off. Like defending that play can be very hard to do. And you give a solo queue team that option, they're going to lose it 100% of the time. But Big Gods Jackals did defend it well. You can give credit to both sides. Mistakes by Delta Fox definitely did happen. Proper response by Big Gods also definitely did happen. And the way it came together was like a 2-for-1 and a turret.
And it's also just a very convincing way to bounce back. Big Gods Jackals was very close to Delta Fox in game 1 for like the first 20 to 25 minutes of that game before that dragon play wound up happening where they kind of came out ahead, or that's where they turned the game around and came out ahead. But this time around, it's very good to see Big Gods Jackals, who were the 4th place team coming into the Challenger Series playoffs last split, cement the fact that like, hey, Delta Fox, they haven't won a game yet. We had a very convincing victory over them in game number 2, and just kind of being able to showcase the fact that they do have this communication in their team. They do have the ability to close these games out rather quickly when they have the advantages, and just showcasing really good stuff from a team that made the playoffs last time and is looking to push into the promotion tournament.
Right, and again, now that they're at 2-2, they sit 1 match ahead of CLG Academy. They are likely to remain in that running right there, and it's just counting down the days until they have to play against United or Temporal Storm, right? They already lost their first match to Gold Queen United. Of course, they can win the comeback later on. It's a double round robin, so they get a second chance at it to maybe get a slightly easier first round opponent. But it's just get in shape, stay in playoff running, and then get that upset in the first round. And that's the goal. And if they're still playing well, look, one of the tower dives look very good from these guys. They certainly have some good players. As long as they can keep growing, we can see them get far in the postseason.
That's very true. And now for more on that series, and from Delta Fox's Challenger Series adventure, we're going to turn this one around a little bit. I'd like to welcome Voyboy to the broadcast via Skype. Voyboy, thanks for coming.
Oh, hey, what's up, guys? I was just chilling. How's it going?
Not too shabby, but glad to see that you are a little more relaxed after that one. I want to first say thank you very much for coming on the broadcast. It was a little bit of a harsh game number 2. So how was it just kind of competing on the Rift with the Challenger team in that series against Big Gods Jackals?
I mean, our team's really cool. Like, obviously, we're super chill. We're all really good friends. So every game we play, like, we enjoy it a lot. But I'm not going to lie, like, it's really frustrating, like, getting some advantages in some of these games and then just kind of throwing or like eventually getting smashed because we really want to win. Like, we're all super motivated to do well for the fans, and like there's so much riding on our backs, and we hate letting everyone down. So these losses definitely hurt. Like, every loss we've had definitely, like, believe me, we just pulled up our match history. It's just a bunch of losses, and like I look back at those games, I'm like, wait, we could have won like half those. And honestly, it's a lot of growing pains just because we're a new team. We're all young go-getters and we want to do well, but we just don't have like as much practice as a lot of these other teams. Like, we're not scrimming every day like them. So we're trying to make the best with what we have. And I think we've been doing a good job. I'm not going to lie. I think we definitely like played a lot worse in that series than we have been in some of these other series. Cause I think we could have definitely taken a game or two off Jackals, but we'll get them next time. We'll make everyone proud. Like, if it's not next series, it's the one after. I can promise you guys that.
All right, you're promising it's not a 0-20 run. You're promising you're getting some
Oh
of these
hell no,
upgrades.
dude. We're gonna make playoffs. We're gonna make playoffs, and we're gonna win.
Alright.
Oh wait, let's not get that far.
Okay, all right, but not 0-20. You're gonna win some games. So I'm actually curious. You said you're not scrimming every day, which I understand. But how much practice are you putting in, like as a team unit, outside of like everyone playing solo queue?
So we've been duo queuing a lot together. Like me and Scarra have been playing, Dyrus, Scarra, our bot lane, Chipanya, and Cutie have been playing a lot. Like we've all been trying to build like those little synergies that will carry over into our games because we don't like our schedules are so different. So it's kind of hard to just like schedule like a full block of scrims, you know, and just like 5-man versus like all the other LCS teams. But we're trying to get like those little synergies together going between our players so that when we're in the match and it's like the hyphy moment, like, yo, Scar, you need to initiate, just go for it, like, or like just gank this right now. Like we'll have that built up and we'll probably be a little bit weaker on like our macro play and our overall game strategies, but we can definitely take games just because we're like all really mechanically solid players and we can, you know, build the trust together so we can finally, you know, just win one of those close fights and then just like take the game. Like we're so close, man. Like, just
I understand
you gotta believe me, man. These games are all winnable. But yeah,
I believe you, boy.
I guess that's.
Yeah, definitely had some pretty close games. I kind of want to kind of take that focus as to how you're practicing in solo queue with the team and kind of transition into how you guys play on the Rift. What is like the biggest difference you've seen working on those little synergies and kind of playing in solo queue and then transitioning into the Challenger series where the competition's a little bit more about that coordination and macro play you mentioned we're kind of working on?
Yeah, I mean, solo queue is pretty worthless practice for competitive. Like, it's good that we're all like playing our champions and stuff and trying to like, you know, practice what we want to play. But in terms of like actually using what we're learning in solo queue for competitive, it's just different. That's why it's hard for us to, like, the fans are like, oh shit, like Cutie, Danny, like all these guys like high rank in solo queue, like they're legends, like LCS geniuses, like they're just gonna come in and just like smash the challenger scene. It's like, all right, everyone, like, calm down. We're gonna try our best. Like, we're not gonna get to practice as much as these guys. They've been playing for months together. Like, competitive is very different from just like your average games. And like that's another thing about like the roles and like our team, like the way we've set our team. Like people think, oh, because like this guy's really good at solo queue, like the team's like holding itself back by not putting like this person there or this person there. Like we're pretty comfortable with all the roles that we're playing, and we've, you know, talked about it a lot. Like this is the best combo that we have to, you know, improve as a team and get better. And we're all capable of playing at an NACS or even better level, you know, in our individual positions. It's just a matter of getting that team synergy down so that, you know, we can actually go in and just like pop off and take these games. So we're going to keep practicing, you know, we're going to get better, and, you know, hopefully these wins are going to start coming through, boys.
All right, well, you guys are still looking for that one win in the Challenger Series, and of course, you guys have kind of grouped together just for fun. You know, it's pretty fun to watch your games so far, but for you personally, Voyboy, what is one thing that you or Delta Fox as a team are really looking to kind of take away from this North American Challenger Series experience?
Well, I mean, I think we've already been getting a lot of, you know, cool stuff for us as players, as friends. We all like playing together. I think it would be a lot funner if we just start like winning some of these games, and it would be better for the fans, obviously, if we can start popping off and, you know, making you guys proud. So hopefully that'll be like the end result. Like by the end of the season, we'll actually look like a competitive team. We'll look like we've been playing together for more than like a week. Like we've played more than like 5 games together. But yeah, I mean, that obviously the more practice we get, yeah, exactly. Like we'll get there, boys. But you know, I think I think we just want to like win. I mean, it would be really cool if we just suddenly started taking games and we could make playoffs and like make a run or something. We'll see. I mean, we're going to try our best. And at the end of the day, we just want to make the fans proud, because like that's ultimately why we did this. Like we're all, you know, successful streamers. We're all content creators. Like we all love what we do. But it was just like, wait, we have a chance to like play together as a team, like try to take games and like, you know, have everyone watch that and have a good time. Like that's ultimately the goal here. And, you know, hopefully we can win while doing that too. So wish us luck, boys. We're not going to stop working hard. We're not going to stop trying to win. So
yeah.
All right.
You guys had some very hard-fought games there, and you still have some hard-fought games to go. So even though you weren't able to pick up the win today, I want to thank you once again for coming on and giving us a little interview.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
And with tonight's matches complete, we're going to see how the league stands overall. United still holds on to first place, followed by Tempo Storm close behind in second. And with their win tonight, Big Gods Jackals moves on up to tie Gold Coin United at third place. With a single match victory, though, CLG Academy holds position 1 slot above Delta Fox, who will be searching for their first win in week number 3. And unfortunately, Phreak, we're all out of games for tonight.
Yep.
But if you need more League of Legends action in your life, we got you covered tomorrow because it's week 3 of the North American LCS.
It is.
Starting at 3 p.m. Pacific or 6 p.m. Eastern time, you can catch Immortals as they take on Team Liquid. Then you can see if Envy can continue their streak against Echo Fox in our second match of the evening, just in case you didn't get your fill of frogging tonight.
More League of Legends always going to be fun to deal with, and honestly, it's going to be some really good matches because a lot of those teams have actually improved a lot, and Envy and Immortals, for being really bottom of barrel teams last split, are sitting at 3-1 apiece and look like very good teams now.
Yeah, Immortals almost made a playoff run last time. Envy are looking like they might want to make a playoff run of their own. Some tempered expectations because, well, they made playoffs one split, they didn't another split. This could be the first time to kind of break the one-and-done trend.
Yeah, I think both these teams, I mean, they're both tied for first right now. These are definitely solid teams that can improve. Echo Fox sitting at 2-2, I think can also do some good things as well. And it's just so interesting to see how much the table had actually turned over in the NALCS so far.
Well, we got plenty of league action this entire weekend. That's going to be it for us tonight. So for myself, Phreak, and the entire Challenger broadcast crew, even though we're down Mark Z, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.